Ho, 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 and happy Boxing Day to you. That's the day after Christmas when everyone in Canada throws away their trash.
Yes.
We don't do that in America.
You put it all in a box.
We call it Pine 11.
Yeah.
Here in
light
America,
your
you
Christmas
take
trees on fire.
Yes. You just
take-
throw them out.
all of the wrapping paper and cardboard and everything, whether it'll burn or not, or whether it'll release toxic fumes, and you throw it in the fireplace.
Yeah.
Yes, the great cleansing fire of December 26th.
Yes. So, I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas if you celebrate.
Yeah. We're recording this weeks in the past.
Yeah. 2 weeks.
And we're doing it to fulfill obligations. We have to have an episode about tech go up this week, but Ricky's currently on the other side of the world in Italy, unable to do that. Also,
I'm at the Vatican celebrating in style.
Yeah, and I'm with my family.
Yeah.
And I'm on the other side of Los Angeles at Italy, having a lovely sampling of pastas.
Italy.
Los Angeles is great during the holidays.
It is.
No one's here.
Everyone gets the fuck out. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All the bars, you can walk right up, get yourself a drink.
Yeah, get yourself a spritzer of Coke.
But we're not here to talk about our extravagant lives.
No, we're here to talk about the
Tech.
year of tech. And when I say the year of tech, I mainly mean, first and foremost, Elon Musk's crazy, terrible, no good, very bad year.
Wow.
Mark Zuckerberg.
He did some good stuff.
Yes.
He went from Tony Stark to Hank Scorpio to just like Gru. Like Dr. Evil.
Yeah, it was, he's been a bit better now, I guess.
Well, I don't know. In the 2 weeks since we've recorded this,
Anything could have happened.
anything could have happened.
Yeah.
And
oh, man.
so-
Can you believe that he got caught smoking all of those horse embryos on Joe Rogan's Friends podcast?
Yeah.
While wearing a VR mask that was just blasting hentai into his eyeballs.
Yeah, it's crazy that happened. But yeah, so we're gonna talk mostly about Musk because he was the most colorful character in the world of technology this past year. But also, I mean, Facebook had a probably
year.
their worst year in their existence, and good fucking riddance.
Yeah.
And also MoviePass, a company.
That still baffles me.
A company that, at least as of when we're recording this, has not gone completely bankrupt.
At least we got Gotti out of it.
Yeah, MoviePass had quite a year, basically making promises that they were financially incapable of.
Writing checks their butts couldn't cash.
They literally at one point the company had to
ran out of
pause
money.
all operations because they ran out of money.
Guys, it's fine. We just got to secure a $5 million loan.
Hey, hold tight. Don't see no movies real quick.
Yeah, they had to hire dogs.
We
to
ran
do
out
all
of
their
cashola.
I'm the head of marketing.
Hey,
We'll
anyone
get to
find
all
that
of this.
burlap sack with a $sign painted on that I misplaced?
Please, we need it. And also, again, reintroduce Dan
Yeah,
Casey
this is Dan Casey,
from Nerdist.
intrepid Nerdist reporter.
He used to do a show called Muskwatch.
It's true. Muskwatch. We watched him. It was like, who watches The Watchmen? We just watched Elon.
Yeah, there was an episode of Tech News Day this year where I was aware of your show. I didn't remember the name at the time when I was like riffing on this thing, and I was like, this show's become like Muskwatch or something like that. And you were like, oh, Dan does that show. And I'm like, oh yeah. I wonder how he's going to react to this submarine
It was
thing.
a good reaction.
And I did like a mock reaction of it, and people watched your episode and was like, yeah, it's pretty much dead
Yeah,
on.
pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Just like it was me going like,
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds of painful
sighing.
silence.
We just could, it's such a implosion, and I've never seen someone squander so much goodwill so quickly.
It's all Twitter's fault.
and
Twitter's fault, and also some of those pesky investigative reporters,
Gosh.
like that guy who did those people that did the report on the safety problems at
Yeah.
Tesla and how he hates the color yellow, so they didn't have enough lines drawn.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh, that if you get the chance, dig into that. It's
I know that at one
spicy
point
read.
he people were complaining about like not having helmets, and so he like headbutted a car and was like, "I'm fine."
Yeah, it's a real stable genius.
I could chalk a lot of this up to. And we should. I'm sure that we'll probably start with the.
Yeah, I have it
He
all
had a good-
mapped
he
out
had a
in
good-
chronological order.
He had a good beginning of the year. It was very entertaining. It was the old Musk we all know and love.
Yeah.
I think what I would assume, and I am not a doctor, is that the man has been very outspoken about the fact that he does not sleep. And lack of sleep is one of the most detrimental things that can happen to your brain.
I used to pull all-nighters in college because I was a lazy piece of shit who would procrastinate. And like during finals, I'd be up for like 3 days on end. And you literally go insane.
Yeah, it's
you
very,
start
very
to like
bad.
see things that aren't there in your peripheral vision. It is not a good state to be in, especially for extended periods of time.
And it sounds like,
especially if you're running multiple billion-dollar companies,
launching rockets into space, putting people in cars that should keep them safe. And I'm just basing this off of what he said. He literally was never not working and slept on a couch.
He's proud of it.
Yeah. It's a point of pride.
You're saying that like you can't change the world, you can't make a difference on 40 hours of work per week.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But it's even more extreme than that because he was talking about doing like 100-hour weeks. And
he's
never going home.
He doesn't lead a healthy lifestyle. His life is scheduled down to 5-minute increments.
He went to what was his brother? It was his brother's wedding where he was working all night, showed up at the wedding and then went right back to work or something.
Yeah. Probably didn't sleep on the flight. Probably was fully connected. Probably running the factory through like a VR setup.
But had enough time to camp out on the Gigafactory rooftop a couple times. Just, having some cold ones with the boys.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. I couldn't find anything from January about Elon Musk. It was a quiet month for him. But February is when he decided to start selling a flamethrower, which was actually a blowtorch inside of an air rifle.
Not a flamethrower, because
this all seems so long ago, by the way.
Flamethrower and sell it. Yeah, I know. It feels like another lifetime.
And they immediately, they all sell out. He funds a big part of the Boring Company tunneling project, and it's mostly fun. Some California legislators get a little ticked off about it because it's like we are just at this point having constant wildfires, and it's just not a great look for a California businessman to be like saying, look at how fun it is to shoot fire. But I mean, whatever.
Also, YouTubers publicly using them in municipalities that at the very least are looking at that and going, wait, hold on, someone has a fucking flamethrower?
Yeah, where do you get that giant butane torch?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, compared to what was to come,
very hard.
Babytown Frolic. This was like a fun lark. This is where like a lot of the Hank Scorpio memes really started. That like
this
classic
Musk
shot of the
guy's
Simpsons.
crazy.
Like, oh, what a kooky guy selling a flamethrower. Ultimately, like a fun idea.
He tweeted he was going to make a flamethrower, and
it's
he
one
did.
Of those things where, exactly. It's just like him being kind of like a goofy guy on Twitter, then turning that into like, oh, it wasn't a meme, it was real.
No, but I think that this is also like because he seems pretty in tune with. It seems weird. Sort of to look at a CEO or whatever and think that they're in tune with like memes and like modern entertainment and stuff like that. And I really think that he looked and he was like, oh man, I know Hank Scorpio in that episode, and it's like, wouldn't it be funny if I kind of did that?
See, I think he was just like looking at like, oh, what would be funny and random and cool? Flamethrower, haha, good joke. And then they're like, oh, people are really responding to this. How much would it cost to make this real? We'll do a limited run. It'll be fun.
And before that, they had done hats.
Yes.
Very safe.
Yeah, the hats also sold out incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
He's someone that gets people excited about science and technology in a way that you don't see a lot of these other CEOs. Like, no one cares about Richard Branson, the rebel billionaire. Like, he had
a moment. Yeah,
his time has come and gone. Now you're just like, who is this sun-bleached, smiling skeleton windsurfing on his private island
with a naked woman on his back?
Exactly. Like, he's sort of like the older guard of that.
That's why
it's hard to get stoked about Jeff Bezos too. He's just like, who is this guy that J.K. Simmons is going to play in a biopic in like 5 years?
Literal Lex Luthor.
But that's why I think Musk stands out, because I feel like he is well aware of the memes that he is creating.
Yeah. His team is.
Yeah.
He spent the last decade very carefully, I think, cultivating a specific image of himself, and was very successful at it. But this year was trying for Elon Musk because
just log off, dude.
In 2017, so in 2017 he announces the Model. Well, no, they announced the Model 3 in like 2015, I believe. It was
that
like
the low cost
open it up
one?
for pre-orders.
Back in 1901, the Tesla Model 3,
and it was like this is going to be our first of all our cheapest car, and our most mass-produced car.
Yes.
And you can drop $1,000 today to reserve yours, and they'll be ready to go in like 2 or 3 years. Up to this point, Tesla, they've released their cars only in like pretty limited runs. And the Model 3, they were going to make like hundreds of thousands of these things. And turned out that that was a lot harder than it's like making cars is hard.
Yeah.
And takes time, and things go wrong, and you have to fix them. And one bottleneck in the production line can, it has a domino effect, and that's exactly what fucking happened.
Like their production pipeline is so wonky that they even had to open the Gigafactory in Nevada, like this gigantic factory dedicated just to making enough batteries for all of these cars.
And this also comes off the heels of he had a lot of goodwill going for him, and that's why I kind of get the cult of personality with his fan base who can see no wrong. But he was also coming off of the thing where he had accepted a challenge from Australia to produce energy for them because of all their brownouts.
Yes, he took his company Solar City down there and like really helped in.
I think he did the same thing in Puerto Rico.
In Puerto Rico, yes. So Solar City and the Gigafactory, and like he has like done some great things this year. He's been a part of some like really important initiatives to help areas like the ones you mentioned get back on their feet, but he just gone off the rails in such a public manner.
That might have been like maybe that was the start of him trying too hard to solve every little problem. Where it's like, remember when I helped and did this and did this?
Yeah.
And now this thing is on the news, and we'll get to it. I'm going to figure out how to help that situation too through technology, regardless of whether or not it's a good idea for me to butt in.
I think the start of his insanity, you can trace it pretty clearly to the Model 3 production. Having all those problems, and him admitting that he's sleeping in his office on his couch and like pulling all-nighters and
literally can't delegate.
Yeah. And then at the same time, he's trying to rush these cars out, and the whole like labor aspect of making these cars becomes more and more of a topic because his factory is not unionized. There's, increasing reports of people, complaining about getting injured or just not being treated very well, and you see it's all his own fucking fault. If he had taken the advice we keep giving, yet no one will listen, to just shut the fuck up, and the bad news usually goes away. But
that's what Jeff Bezos does. And
right,
it's fine.
Jeff Bezos doesn't
down.
Jeff Bezos, I don't even know what his voice sounds like because he just lets that shit brush right off of him.
Like you said, I can just imagine him sounding like J.K. Simmons' character in Whiplash all the time. Not my tempo.
So
not my delivery.
Yeah.
So that's we don't hear a whole lot about him during that time, except that he's stressed out and he's busy. But everyone's still like, "Come on, Elon, you got this." Real man of the people, real hero here.
Yeah,
in May,
you were an Iron Man too. You got this, buddy.
In May, he starts dating Grimes, which
wait, no, you didn't talk about the Falcon, the launching the car.
Oh yes,
that was a big moment. For him.
That was
February. Yes, yeah, that was probably the peak of Elon being like a hero to everyone.
Launching his personal Tesla
Roadster.
Cherry Red Roadster.
Yeah, live stream of a car with a fake astronaut in it flying around the Earth. It was cool as hell.
And that was one of the best things he did this year to help galvanize interest in space flight and space travel. Because I think without something like that was garnered so many clicks and so many eyeballs, like you wouldn't have as many people like thinking about the space program or thinking about even like the private space sector is becoming one of the largest new businesses and like industries in the country. But in order to keep that going, you need people actually interested in.
Yeah, and that the funny thing about that is it's way more impressive. The technology that was developed that lands rocket boosters on platforms in the ocean is infinitely more impressive than that, but it's not going to get people on Facebook to share it with their mom.
Exactly.
Right.
Not even doing something like naming the boat to catch the fairing nose cone, Mr. Steven. This giant boat with a net that they have to catch the nose cone that like detaches so they can reuse it. Because one of the big initiatives of SpaceX is these reusable rockets. They want to be able to land them down. You can get the cost down of space travel, like because that's the thing right now. It's like it costs so much to send a rocket in space, but if you can reuse that rocket, it's going to come down a lot.
Yeah, as long as it's for now unmanned, basically, because
Yes.
there's a lot of risk involved.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they as early as next year. That's when Jeff Bezos says that he wants to send people into space for 10-minute trips at a time.
Blue
as part of
Origin.
Blue Origin.
That
200
comes up
200 grand.
like that comes up all the time though.
Yeah.
Like Branson tried to do that.
Branson
Yeah,
wanted
Virgin
to do
Galactic.
It. Yeah, Virgin Galactic, and even SpaceX eventually wants to do that. Elon wants to do like sort of these commercial space flights, and that'll be another big sector who can crack that code of safely getting people into
Yeah.
orbit.
Because no one wants to pay like $250,000 to die.
Yeah, exactly,
be
exactly.
pretty bad.
Like Lance Basswell, but he's
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
one.
Yeah, did they ever? They
We're
have,
launching Joey Fatone into the sun.
Oh man.
There have been private citizens that have gone up. Like Russia will send people up for the right price. I
yeah.
believe.
You can do anything for the right price in Russia.
Yeah. Oh, you want to go to space? Sure.
I want to go to space and be peed on
Yes.
in zero
can have
gravity.
both.
Careful. It's going to come out in globs.
Yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Ugh.
So he did that. That was very cool. Big
Yeah, I
worldwide
think
moment.
that was like the peak of his coolness. So it's extra startling that like within half a year, his public profile fell so low, and that's because of the Thai cave rescue. We'll get to that. She starts dating Grimes in May. Grimes, Streisand effect in full force, decides to reply to tweets on Twitter about Elon Musk's labor practices by saying that she conducted her own personal investigation and concluded
One of the wildest things, like, oh, don't worry, I checked.
Yeah.
He's not suppressing any unions.
I asked, and he said no. Simple
Yeah.
as that.
I yelled, honey, are you suppressing unions at your plants?
she literally
No.
called it fake news.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fake news. That same month, Consumer Reports gives the Model 3 a bad grade because sometimes when you hit the brakes, it stops in like 10 feet, and sometimes it stops in like 80 feet.
Oh.
And that's kind of
Not a
inconsistent.
degree of variance that you want.
But
No.
apparently there's like a software issue that they fixed.
Patched.
oh, whoops, I had Windows 95 on this damn
Yeah.
thing.
But that's also the month where Elon starts like really going off on Twitter on like this weird anti-media crusade, where he's basically saying that anyone who's publishing articles critical of him or his companies for valid reasons, anyone who's actually doing this is part of a like global oil conspiracy to take him down because he's advancing the environmental it's
Or they're short sellers.
or they're Tesla short sellers who want him to fail. And there was some fun exchanges there between reporters who work for like outlets like Reveal that are completely non-profit, who are like,
Oh, yeah.
Elon, I'm not in this to get rich.
Yeah, trust me.
And then during this like
Is this when he
days,
was launching that website
Yes.
to like verify the
Pravda.
truth?
oh
Pravda.
my god, I've completely forgot about
says
that.
when I was going through this earlier today, there's like so much shit I forgot. Yeah, so he's like the solution to this is that I will start my own news ratings website where people can vote on which articles are good, which is the dumbest fucking idea ever because people are just going to be like, they're going to upvote the news they want to believe,
Yeah.
and not the actual truth.
It's gonna be like Reddit, but for complete dipshits.
Yeah.
And then it's like he wanted that to be an example of real news, which it can't possibly be.
Yeah, no, you can't. It's not how it works.
Yeah, and then the one outlet he praised, the Knife Media, turned
You mean
out
the front for a sex cult.
yes, they turned out to be the media arm of a sex cult called Nexium. That's like currently most of its ranking members are in jail, about to go on trial for some pretty horrible shit. So, not the greatest move calling
Yeah.
them the solution to
Finally, some real
news.
journalists.
So that was May.
He's got a great taste. That was the first time that we did an episode of Muskwatch where we sort of spoke out against Elon. We're like, dude, what are you doing?
What were the
Yeah.
comments like?
Oh,
Because,
it was brutal.
I thought you guys were Musk fans.
Look, you can be a fan. I'd say it's even better. Like, you are a better fan of something if you are critical of the things that you love.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
hold it to the same standard
was-
you would anything else.
It was frustrating on two ends because we forever praised so much of everything that he was doing. It was like, man, this guy's really doing it. He's completely the opposite of what you would assume a tech billionaire CEO guy is. He's innovating in things that are very specific to what we think will be good for the future. And then it was frustrating because it's like you can't criticize him without being pounced on online by people who, for whatever reason, see him as like infallible. And it's like you have to, every time we were like, we don't enjoy mocking and reporting on these downfalls, but it just shows that this guy needs to refocus his energy anywhere else in his business other than interfering with a rescue or like spending all of his time tweeting about bad press or whatever. It just seemed like a waste of time, and it was frustrating to see someone that you looked up to turn in a way that you didn't think that they were.
It feels sort of like connected to this larger issue online, especially on Twitter, where there's no room for discourse anymore. It's just a like vitriolic rage chamber where you can only love franchises and you can't speak out against things. If you are trying to be critical of something, you are like a paid shill. You're a hater.
How much is Disney paying you?
Yeah, it's just like Elon Musk is another franchise that you can buy into.
How much is Big Oil paying you to say mean things about Elon?
It's disheartening, to say the least.
So June comes around. Shit gets real crazy at the Tesla factories around this time. Elon sends out a company-wide email about how there is a saboteur in their ranks who has been setting fires and has been stealing insider company data off computers and then changing the data to make the machines run poorly and damage the cars. That's still...
No one will suspect me, Mitchell Chevrolet.
So it's on...
Those damn Dodge brothers again.
The guy claimed to be like a whistleblower, and he was just like taking data out of Tesla's database, and his claim was that they were like knowingly shipping batteries that had holes in them to customers because they didn't have... they were already past their deadline, and they were just like, well, it's good enough, send it out. That I think that's still like on its way to trial, but that was interesting because just the peek into the mind of someone who's becoming increasingly paranoid, where it's like there was fires starting because like they were just throwing like greasy rags on the ground, and that's that's how fires start. Like these weren't. Someone wasn't.
Sounds like a saboteur to me.
Like
the easiest answer is always the right one.
I just slept for 15 minutes in a conference room on a couch that has no lumbar support.
I'm lucid.
Definitely a saboteur.
So yeah, that there was like a couple other things too where he was making a lot of claims that basically the big three, the combustion automakers, were like sending moles into his factories and like being on the lookout, loose links.
Which actually, like, I don't want to say it like that. That might be true.
It could be,
but I don't think that they were starting fires.
That's the only issue.
Yeah. Like, why? If you're a mole from like GM or whatever, you're not going to go in there and cause absolute chaos. You're going to steal trade secrets.
Hey, how can I get caught real quick?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm just gonna, stealthily steal this data and just start some fires.
Oops, I spilled my fire.
Yeah, whoa. Crazy. So random.
Yeah.
What Elon needs at this point is what Jack from Twitter just did for whatever. That was the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Are you talking about flying on a plane? Or
no, where he went on a vision quest to Myanmar?
Oh yeah, and he didn't eat for like a week.
Yeah, and he was like, it's a crazy thread. It's like, hey, you guys want to see the person that owns this website? And it's just like a 50 tweet long vision quest that he went on to just kind of cleanse his.
He looks
body
real weird
soul.
these days too. His beard is very unflattering.
Yeah,
Jack Dorsey.
I think that
I don't know anything about him.
The
it's
more
probably
you
good.
align yourself with the alt-right, the shittier you start to look.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this
it's
point,
just a marketplace of ideas, guys. It's this is just free speech in action.
At this point, Elon probably would have been in his best interest to go on vacation.
Yeah,
take a break.
We've been telling him to get a vacation for a year.
Just log off, dude. Log off for a week.
You know what? He did decide to go on vacation to Thailand.
This week's show is sponsored by Stitch Fix. They are an online personal styling service that finds and delivers clothes, shoes, and accessories to fit your body, your budget, and your lifestyle. Go to stitchfix.com/newsday, all one word, and tell them your sizes. You're going to tell them what styles you like and how much you want to spend on each item. It's a fun little process where you get to pick if you like or don't like something. You'll then be paired with your very own personal stylist who will handpick items and send them right to your door. You try them on, you pay for the ones that you want to keep, the ones that you love, and you just return the rest. Shipping and exchanges and returns, they're always free.
Yeah, there's no subscription required. You can sign up to receive scheduled shipments or just get your fix whenever you want. Stitch Fix's styling fee is only $20 and it's applied towards anything you keep from your shipment. Get started now at stitchfix.com/newsday and you'll get an extra 25% off when you keep all the items in your box. That's stitchfix.com/newsday to get started today. stitchfix.com/newsday. I'm currently wearing a Stitch Fix shirt, Stitch Fix pants, Stitch Fix shoes, and Stitch Fix socks. I got my second shipment. I set it for every 3 months, and I'm keeping everything in the box.
Oh.
The first one I kept half of them. I sent my feedback, and the second time I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
They listened.
I mostly kept like the dress shirts because I'm really bad at buying those for myself, but I can't wear them on here because everyone makes fun of me every time.
Going to church?
Stop it. Just trying to look nice, all right? You start dressing like an adult and stop wearing Larry David on my shirt pocket. What am I doing? Thank you, Stitch Fix.
As we all remember, in July, a group of 12-year-old-ish boys and their coach in Thailand, they went into a cave to have fun. The safest way to have fun, as we all know, is go deep inside of a cave. There was a flash flood, and they got trapped in the cave because the cave was like,
very
up
windy.
and dead. It's very windy and shit. They couldn't get out. None of them could swim. It's a bad situation. They're like assumed dead for 2 weeks, and then somehow like a diver who's just like looking for their corpses manages to find them in there, but they have no idea how to get them out. It's a big issue. Like, they got to get them out at some point soon because monsoon season's about to start. They're bringing in experts from around the world, people who've spent their entire lives diving in caves and climbing, and like they know
doing rescue operations.
everything about this kind of shit. They hire local cavers who understand the inside of the cave perfectly, and they for some reason failed to invite Elon Musk to come there, but he takes it upon himself to offer the assistance of his team at SpaceX, who will build a boy-sized submarine in order to get the boys out. He goes to Thailand to like talk to them, and by his account, they're really into it. Like, great, get to work. This might just be it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people at this point on Twitter are just like, maybe this is all a distraction and not the best use of anyone's time.
Maybe this technology can come in handy later.
Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't beta test like a completely new idea on a bunch of children who can die.
This aqua baby coffin. Would you be our first user?
It was horrifying looking. When they were doing the tests at that high school pool or whatever, it was like when the guy slid out of that.
He's like, see, it was.
I was just like, no, I would probably die inside of that having a panic attack or something like that, rather than. And I get like if it's a life or death scenario and this was the only option, but like even if he had like very precise maps of these caves, it's like this thing is not. It's a solid thing.
Yeah, can't really get around some of these tight areas, and that was the concern, that it wouldn't clear some of the particularly narrow passages.
Well, because the divers who had already like gotten there, like there was parts where they had to like take their tank off their back, and like move that around, and then like move their back.
It took us 10 minutes to get this couch in here through the door.
Swimming,
so a big like 6 foot long metal rigid bullet.
The thought of doing
might not work
several laps right now tires me out. The thought of doing that in a swimming pool, swimming 1.5 miles in darkness and cold water after I haven't eaten for a week or two. Yeah, no, I think I.
Yeah. I mean, it's so treacherous that an actual like a person who was like in their Navy, right?
Yeah,
a guy died.
Yeah,
doing the trip.
So he starts getting like. And this was like still a pretty new thing. People were kind of like dogging on Elon Musk, just being like, "This is a bad idea. Stay out of it."
We get the impulse. It's nice that you're offering support for these guys, and like keep developing this, like maybe as something that could come in handy for future rescue operations. But like, you don't have to be involved in this.
Yeah,
we appreciate the sentiment, but we have literally the best people in the world, prepared to do this.
And those people, they eventually did. They were successful, and the method they used made a lot more sense. They put these kids in like this sort of like kid taco sort of thing. They were like wrapped up in like a sheet,
a quesadilla,
and hooked up to like a tank, and it was all like separate. And movable and posable, and you could go around these corners, and they all fucking lived, and it was great, and everyone clapped, and that was that.
Yeah. And then it was like, at that point, it's like, the general vibe is like, it was silly for him to waste, I get it, but he did, it was noble of him to offer.
It was a nice
help.
offering.
What actually happened, though, is it was mostly a waste of time for him, his employees, and everyone else. But after that, cool.
Yeah.
Elon, thank you for the help. We didn't end up needing it. All good. Thank you so much.
CNN goes to, they've already been at the rescue HQ. The rescue's done. They're interviewing everyone involved for their more coverage of this, because it's great news bait. Getting a lot of great ratings.
It's a feel good story in a year full of shit.
They interview Vernon Unsworth, a British expat living in Thailand, who was brought on early on because I think he knew shit about that cave that wasn't even on official maps.
Yeah, he was like an expert.
Yeah,
an expert diver.
But he had specifically caves, I think, was his thing. It was confusing because he was initially described as a diver, which he is, but his main expertise is in caving. But anyway, CNN comes up to this guy who probably hasn't slept in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Just
helped rescue children and save their lives.
Hey, buddy, so pretty amazing thing you just did, but enough about you. Let's talk about Elon Musk's...
this billionaire in California?
Let's talk about the Elon Musk thing that ended up not getting used at all. And he seemed a little annoyed by that question, and in not very many words said that Elon Musk's plan was doomed to fail.
Go shove it. I think was the...
He can stick that submarine where the sun don't shine or whatever. I mean, he's not nice about it, but it's also I'd be pissed too if I just spent weeks trying to save people's lives and had just managed to do it and then
get asked the worst question
just
possible.
I don't fucking care about Elon Musk.
Yeah, dude, we saved these kids. Shut up.
Yeah, I remember when we shot our episode for that, we tried my bet with the comments were still real bad against us, but I remember specifically being like, please put yourself in this man's shoes, who literally just risked a bunch of people's lives and saved children, and is finally doing a wrap up with the media and won't stop getting asked about Elon Musk, a famous person who tried to make a child floating coffin,
boy coffin
that wasn't used. And imagine how you would feel about that. And it's it's not very
for sale child coffin, never used.
Yeah. It's not very anyone would react like that.
Right.
Dude, I just did something incredible, and you won't shut up about this guy who did essentially nothing.
Yeah, what am I supposed to be like? Oh man,
thanks.
All the spirit of teamwork. Good hustle out there, Elon. Grab an orange slice.
Yeah.
This is still, I mean, it's the guy's talking some real shit, but it had probably a 24-hour shelf life on Twitter. People were sharing it, just being told you so, but everyone would have fucking forgotten about it within a couple days. If Elon Musk had just not...
If he'd said nothing.
But not only did he not say nothing, he goes on this weird multi-tweet rambling thing about how, first of all, Vernon Unsworth is a fraud and wasn't even there for the rescue, and nobody likes him. And, oh yeah, by the way, he fucks kids. He's a pedophile.
And he was going to bet a signed dollar on it.
So
at this point, it's there's something severely wrong with Musk, and I'm sure it's a lot of factors that played into it.
His hair plugs have clearly wrapped themselves around his brain and are just squeezing it, forcing him to tweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot more sense if you just imagine every dumb thing Elon Musk says he is saying after being awake for an entire week.
Yeah.
Running 7 companies. Not delegating any tasks.
Look, I personally oversaw the construction of this baby coffin. You will respect it.
I could have been sleeping while I was building this.
But instead,
Vernon, you asshole.
So, yeah, he calls him a pedo. It does not go over well. This is I think the biggest blow to Elon Musk's public goodwill in his lifetime.
Yeah.
And
but then you still had people being like, well, he probably is.
Yeah, I don't know. White guy living in Thailand is people do other things in Thailand than fuck kids.
Yeah, he's a cave diver.
And Thailand has a lot of caves.
Yeah. But with absolutely zero evidence, there was fanboys that were just But what if he is?
But can you prove he isn't?
Wouldn't it be crazy if he actually was a
Can you prove he isn't?
Yeah. So anyways.
So yeah, that's July.
That was July.
Which I labeled
Jesus.
here as a very bad month. August, I labeled as another very bad month because in August, right off the bat, we're talking like 2.5 weeks after calling a hero a pedophile, Elon Musk tweets out that he's taken Tesla private at $420, and anyone who wants to keep their shares, they can buy in
And get the $420 buyout.
Yeah, this immediately causes a huge spike in Tesla's stock to the point where the NASDAQ, I believe, suspends trades on it for like 2 hours because like clearly something fishy is going on.
Yeah.
And we're not sure if any of this is legal.
But he swears he doesn't know that 420 is actually a term for marijuana at this point.
Yeah, so long story short, within like 2 months, that results in Elon Musk getting a $20 million fine from the SEC and having to step down as chairman of Tesla. He's still got like a DOJ investigation and like an FBI investigation into it. So the most expensive tweet of all time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, don't fuck around with
The federal government
with like stock shit like that and market manipulation, even as a bit. Like it's not worth it, dude.
Yeah.
Luckily enough, though, so his taking Tesla private thing, which he clearly did not, plan out all that well, nor tell anyone else on Tesla's board about before he tweeted. That was originally planned to sell half of Tesla to Saudi Arabia, which didn't end up working out. And
For the
thank
better.
fucking God, because Saudi Arabia shortly thereafter ran into a bit of a media problem itself.
Also having
for murdering a
great
man.
year.
Yeah.
What a year for Saudi
What a year
Arabia.
for the Saudis.
But really, it was just Elon playing 4D chess because, you see, the thing is he probably did have that funding secured, but he needed a way out because he knew that this was going to happen. So what did he do? He threw himself on the knife. And he paid that fine, and he got that deal ruined.
They would have murdered every journalist listed on Pravda.
Yeah, for
oh my
real.
God, I didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it actually ended up being a very, very good thing that didn't happen because 2 months later, Saudi Arabia orders the killing and dismemberment of a journalist.
Real,
Jamal Khashoggi from the Washington Post.
yeah. Not really people you want to like get in business with if you're like an American startup company.
But a couple people still went over there for that big convention.
Davos in the desert, baby.
Yeah.
So also in August, Azalea Banks, the rapper Azalea Banks,
One of the best days of my life on Twitter. Holy crap, this was.
Well, she had to get someone was relaying it, or she had a burner account on Twitter because she got banned from Twitter.
no, she was posting this all on Instagram.
Yeah, and people were reposting it on Twitter.
So she, Azalea Banks, apparently had been planning a collab.
By the way, this is gonna have to be an only Elon episode because I know Dan has to leave to be on a different podcast in
Elon only
30 minutes.
All right, so Azalea Banks had been talking with Grimes, the performing artist, and Elon Musk's girlfriend for months about doing a collab. Azalea finally flies out to LA. She's staying at the Musk household. She and Grimes, they're gonna spit some hot fire and make the greatest crossover of all time. But doesn't happen. And according to Azalea Banks, this is because Elon Musk gets too high on LSD and starts tweeting a bunch of dumb shit and then feels bad for himself and has to be comforted by Grimes all weekend because he can't handle his drugs. She also claims that they tried to get her to have a threesome together. Later on, she leaks a bunch of texts in which Grimes says that Elon Musk has a gigantic dick and that his accent is fake. Mm-hmm. And then Azalea Banks also claims that Elon Musk like hacked into her phone and like she's not a really reliable narrator, but it was it was just some very unneeded drama that came completely out of left field.
Yeah,
in the middle of what was already just an epic run of bad things happening to Elon Musk.
Oh, what could possibly happen next? Oh, you held Azalea Banks hostage at your mansion while you were tripping balls after getting denied a threesome.
Yeah, not really a good position to be in after everything else that's happened.
No,
so.
I just hope it doesn't endanger that collab.
Yeah, well, that was.
Don't think it's happening now.
Again,
shocker.
Again, it's grain of salt here because Azalea Banks has had her own checkered past.
Yeah,
she was banned from Twitter So it's
Yes.
There
didn't,
is
didn't Lana Del Rey threaten to beat her up?
yeah, I think so. But that was after the whole Musk thing, though. I believe.
Yeah, that was for something else.
Yeah. So
Twitter, nothing good happens on Twitter.
Yeah, didn't Lana Del Rey just say like "fuck around and find out"? Basically,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know where I live, roll up.
yeah. Wow.
Jesus Christ. So yeah. Oh, also that month he does an just completely batshit interview with the New York Times over the phone, where he apparently cries and says this is like the worst year of his life, but that
The worst is yet to come.
the worst is yet to come. He says he hasn't gone on vacation in 10 years or taken like any break from work at all. It's when he talks about going to his brother's wedding and like literally flying directly to Italy, staying there for 2 hours, and then flying all the way back to LA. Oh God, what else? He says, he says that he again says he works 120 hours a week, but there's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't trust anyone else to take the reins.
That's not the
while
mark
he
of a
naps.
good businessman.
No.
Like,
No.
that is the mark of someone who can't manage a company. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing, is like, he is a very smart guy, and he is capable of getting people excited about this stuff because he feels like a Tony Stark figure.
Yeah.
But like, Tony Stark delegates to Pepper Potts, delegates to Happy Hogan. Like, he doesn't have that stuff in place, and doesn't like. He needs more people like Gwynne Shotwell at SpaceX that can sort of take the reins a little bit. He shouldn't be CEO and chairman of all of these
But
companies.
that like
Great
that-
marketing director. He'd be great.
Yes.
Just like as the face of the company, he was fine and it was great. It's just that when like it was like one thing just toppled over for him, and he just wasn't prepared mentally to handle any of it.
Yeah, it was quite a year. So that was fucking August. September comes around, and we haven't heard anything about pedophile cave divers in a while, but
surely all this is blown over. Surely it won't come back.
so he gets baited masterfully on Twitter into readdressing the pedo comments, and decides to double down on them.
Oh no.
And says, well, if he's not a pedo, isn't it funny that he hasn't sued me yet? And it turns out he had been sued. He just hadn't like checked his mail.
Yeah, the lawsuit was in progress when he tweeted that the lawsuit had been in progress for like a month.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And then BuzzFeed emails him about this topic being brought up again. Just like, okay, like Elon, like, do you know something that the rest of us don't? Like, why do you keep saying these things when people get mad at you for doing it? And he keeps replying with emails where he's like, well, off the record, even though that is not how off the record, both parties have to agree. So he keeps sending emails saying, off the record, blah, blah, blah. Actually, Vernon Unsworth is a pedophile. And I know this because he just starts listing off this crazy story that, like, once people looked into it, like, has no correlation with reality at all. He says, like, he has a child bride, but it's like, no, he met his wife in the UK and his wife's like 40. And like they say that he says he has like a criminal record, and there's like no evidence of that either. And it's just this whole fucking insane back and forth where he calls like the BuzzFeed guy like a fucking asshole several times, and it's all just very stupid and not necessary. And then shortly after that, he goes on the Joe Rogan podcast and smokes weed on air.
Yeah, which is all things considered, without any of the other problems that he had this year, would have probably been fine.
Would have been fine if it wasn't just the cherry on top of like an epic run of
and
stupidity.
Wasn't it filmed, like, it was filmed during the summer, wasn't it? It was filmed in advance, or was it actually live?
No, it was live.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
I just can't believe it. It's just one of those things where you log on and you just can't believe what you're seeing.
Yeah, just like the shot of him with his eyebrow, like...
There's no way. It's just one of those. Oh god!
It didn't seem like he even really inhaled, but it was just like it was very just.
Also, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't care
Don't
that
like
Elon
my
Musk.
mouth.
I don't care if he fucking smokes weed. It's just like when you're already kind of like under a lot of scrutiny for a variety of reasons,
And
questioning your leadership
And
abilities.
trying to show that you've got everything under control.
By smoking weed on the Joe Rogan podcast. And it's one of those things, too, where it goes back to the flamethrower and, you know, I'm going to solve the transportation crisis in Los Angeles and all this stuff. It's like he just wants so desperately, it seems, to be viewed as cool.
Oh, yeah.
That means so much to him that it is detrimental to his actual personality.
He was we all as a society peer pressured Elon Musk into smoking that weed.
It feels like it.
Basically.
It feels like it. Like it feels like it feels like, you know, a scenario in high school where like everyone kind of likes this dorky kid. You know, he's not harming anyone.
Yeah.
He's like gonna be valedictorian. But he, you know, he's into some cool stuff too. He watches Dragon Ball Z or whatever. And like,
Oh, yeah, he's a
they're
weeb.
like, you know, like we should start bringing what's his name around. And then he's like, you know, he just desperately wants like everyone to think that he's cool, and so he smokes weed, and then like his life collapses.
It has a mental breakdown. We should have seen the signs though, because he started off the year by like buying like the billionaire equivalent of a lighter. Flamethrower. He was like, oh, but I could use this to smoke those drugs that I see all these teenagers going on about.
Yeah, it's strange.
It would have
It's
actually been a lot
strange.
cooler if he had used the flamethrower.
Oh, that would have been that would have been like.
I think
hell
he
yeah.
would have been in
Hell
much better
yeah,
shape,
brother.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I
You
mean,
know what's cool, Elon? Delegating.
what? Yeah,
That's even cooler. Delegating on weed.
and it's really like what it comes down to with the weed is that he just looked really fucking dumb and lame and weird smoking it. And
It was a
it's-
meme.
Yeah,
It was
just
instantly shareable.
instantly a meme, and it remains one of my favorite, most treasured memes.
And again, if everything in the company was going fine and he is smoking weed, like nobody gives a shit. It's 2018, but it was just a cherry on top, a visual on a actual show, visual cherry on top of like everything that had been happening.
Yeah. So fast forward to October. That's when he gets the $20 million fine, loses his chairman position. Part of his settlement with the SEC is that he, starting, I believe, in like January of 2019, has to get all of his tweets that have anything to do with Tesla approved in advance by the board of directors of Tesla.
Well, that's fine. I'll just start posting about hentai and anime.
Yeah,
Perfect.
but he has this grace period, and so like literally like the day after the SEC judgment, he just posts a bunch of tweets like talking shit on them, calling them like corrupt
Yeah.
and calling them thieves. So that's cool. But comes out in October that all that, what did it cost? Everything, but Tesla was finally profitable for the first time in
Wow.
like a decade.
We did it, fam. It only took me destroying my life.
That is another like it's a opposite end of the spectrum kind of cherry on top of everything is going imagine your stock without all the shit that happened for the last 6 months, and then your company's profitable, everything without like this drama that's unfolding. It all just looks great the entire time, because it's like, yeah, a lot of companies, they're in debt for a long time. But imagine that moment for him without all of the drama. You know what's cool? Being profitable without fucking ruining your life in the process.
God, imagine what it's been like to work at Tesla this year.
Oh, it's
and just,
gotta
like,
be-
watch all of this happening in real time. Like, yo,
especially
what
if-
the fuck is going on?
Especially if you're at like the executive level. But I guess both. Like if you're on the line and you see Elon walk by and he's just in
like,
one of his things,
Quick, act like you don't need workman's comp.
and it's got to be stressful for the other like executives that deal with him to be like, hey, I'm gonna go home and see my family. Are you really gonna, you working still? And it's like, oh, you're gonna go home. I mean, I'm here.
You're a quitter, are you?
Yeah, so you're not gonna you're not gonna change
no
the
one
world.
ever changed the world working 40 hours a week.
It must have been very
Elon,
stressful.
I'm just trying to like get paid here. I'm trying to feed my kids.
Yeah, it had to have been stressful. Like,
Yeah.
it's never comfortable to leave work when other people are still there
Yeah,
working.
exactly. If you know they're going to be there a long time as well. You're
But
like,
then with Tesla, you can't leave because he's there all the time.
Yeah.
and doors locked on the outside.
Elon, it is midnight.
Oh, is it? You know what I call that is nighttime lunchtime.
Yeah, time for third lunch.
I forgot about this, but that same month, October, is when worlds collided, when Kanye West was visiting some like design college and jumped on a table and said, leave Elon Musk alone.
Yeah.
Had his-
Man,
Yeah.
another high-profile guy who's had a very challenging year.
Yeah. Him and Elon Musk would probably get along great.
Yeah,
They're both-
or they would like consume each other somehow. Like,
Yeah.
you would just go in and it's just like one of them is still alive, the other's just covered in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I own Tesla now.
We settled it through Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it seems like things have calmed down a bit for him. Probably because, like, he was going to lose even more if he didn't because he donated like $480,000 to Flint to install like water filters in schools. Very nice. Mm-hmm. The Boring Company test tunnel.
By the time this is...
Yeah, well, so it was originally scheduled for December 10th.
Yeah.
It was pushed back to like December 18th, I believe.
16th, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Hopefully that works out.
They had to scrap one of those tunnels because all those like idiot NIMBYs in Beverly Hills wouldn't let progress happen beneath their vaunted city streets.
And it's not even about the Boring Company either. It's like that is the case with the...
They did the same thing with the subway.
Yeah, the subway couldn't come through there.
Oh, heaven forbid someone not in my economic class ventures into my neighborhood.
Their reasoning behind it was that the LA subway tunnel they wanted to install went under a high school, and they're like, but what if the tunnel collapses and the whole school gets...
And they paid to make protest signs, and they bussed kids to a protest site.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we'll give you the day off if you come protest this.
Fucking wild. Anyway, the California wildfires happened, and Elon again offered to help, and everyone's like, buddy.
Fool me once.
But he was, he didn't call anyone a pedo, and he didn't try to like invent a new way to fight fires, but he did use the fact that half the state was burning as a weird marketing opportunity to talk about how great the air filters in Teslas are.
I mean, look, the Tesla does have that biohazard mode that you can press.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, be a lot less coughing out there if you were all driving Teslas.
Yeah. So
like, cool, Elon, great, good to know.
It's been 2 months, aside from the wildfires thing, where it's been somewhat normal, and all I can say for a positive note is that 2018 will soon be behind Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And he can
slam the door on this year.
A whole new year for him too.
He has a blank slate though. He has a blank slate. This could be, 20 years from now, you could look back on this year and it'll be funny. And it's like, remember when he fucking went crazy for a year?
Yeah.
But it's good to see him kind of bouncing back, or at the very least not being so outwardly weird in public. And I hope that going forward in 2019, he and all of us will look back on this year as just that one year that Elon kind of lost his mind.
Weird year. Very weird year 2018 was, if you're Elon Musk.
Well, for anyone it was, but
so I guess we'll leave it on Elon Musk. We won't mention how Facebook is terrible and it treats you as a product, and all your data got
and Mark Zuckerberg went before
devoured.
Congress.
And was so rehearsed that people thought he was a robot, which was their fear.
And no, it was last year that he went on the virtual tour of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that was like year? September 2017.
Yeah,
he is. Thank God he is not as obsessed with being loved by the public as Elon Musk, because
he tried to do the barbecue.
He did, but smoking these meats.
Sweet baby rays.
What are you guys having for dinner?
Well, we got
brisket and ribs, I hope.
Brisket and ribs.
Mark Zuckerberg, I think, is actually a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made a whole movie about how he's a bad person.
They did. And at the time I was like, this seems like a bit much.
Maybe they're just piling on this guy. Maybe it's just Jesse Eisenberg.
Like, no, I think he actually is like terrible, and his CEO, Sheryl Sandberg, is also just like a bad person.
Yeah.
And they had a real bad year for them, and good.
Delete your Facebook.
they violated the public trust on a scale that I don't think has ever been approached before.
If you haven't read that investigative report in the New York Times about Facebook's very bad year and how they hired all these lobbying firms to discredit people speaking out against them, and how they knew about the fake news problem.
Is actually Jeff Bezos behind this?
Yeah.
The Jews. They did this.
Delete Facebook. It is probably one of the worst things that's ever happened to us as a society. Aside from the very the vast amount of nefarious things that they've done, whether they be legal or illegal, it's also one of the leading causes of depression of all ages.
Yeah.
It also has, I'm sure people watching are aware, tears families and friendships apart.
It literally aided and abetted a genocide.
Yes.
In Myanmar. Mm-hmm. They brought Facebook to a country that had literally just gotten the internet. It was a brand new thing, and decided to hire like one person to moderate the content coming out of a country of millions of people.
Oh boy.
And wouldn't you know it, it became a prime spot to post racist propaganda against an ethnic minority who were then systematically killed and driven from their homes.
But hey, you can poke your friends.
Do they still have poking?
They do. They do still have poking.
They
Oh, that's
also,
great.
to a much lesser extent than that, are at least in some way, I would say a big way, but at least in some way responsible for the downfall of a lot of media, news agencies, journalists.
Any
We're gonna pivot to video.
It's easy to meme on pivoting to video. That was largely motivated by false analytics from Facebook.
Just lies.
That made people think that that's where the money was, and so many people in the digital media space have lost their jobs as a result. So many companies
shut down, teams disbanded, jobs lost. Incredible theorists and creators, talent squandered to the point where you'll probably never hear from them again because their whole career was taken down by this. Entire companies. There was the other stuff that just recently came out where they had like a handshake deal behind closed doors with a lot of bigger companies where they were trading data for data and stuff like that, and whitelisting certain pages to get views for them, and the whole thing was a giant racket because you can just go on and the one company where it was just blatantly out in the open that you just buy whatever views you want.
Oh yeah, it's pay to play.
Yeah, it's literally a shakedown. Like you could be like, hey, look, brand A, we're getting 20 million views a month on Facebook. Don't you want to advertise with us? And then it's like, cool, we're going to give you $100,000 to advertise this new truck we're coming out with. And then you take that $100,000 and you spend $25,000 to get 20 million views. And it's literally just a fucking scheme.
I remember this is a couple years old by now. There was an article about BuzzFeed and how it worked and how they were able to be such this like giant content juggernaut. And part of the way was that they spent $6 million a year on Facebook advertising to like boost their posts and like
that makes so much sense.
Now BuzzFeed is already moving towards a subscription model because they're not profitable. They've spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of their existence surviving as a big brand for all it's. We used to joke about about BuzzFeed in the sense that BuzzFeed, everyone always knew it was terrible, but then they had a decent news organization.
BuzzFeed News is pretty solid.
And that was the thing, was like you would trick people into, sharing, doing a friends quiz. And then it would be like, hey, by the way, here's some hard-hitting journalism on the side tab that you might not have known about. And now they're actually starting to do a thing where it's like how Wikipedia does their charity drive. Like BuzzFeed is doing that now and offering subscription models.
All these sites are. Guardian. Now you go to the Guardian, like the top half of the page is like, please.
We're doing it. We left Warner Brothers Machinima, and now we have a Patreon, and it's like, hey, thanks. Without the Patreon, we wouldn't be here right now in December. It would have been a cool project that we tried to get off the ground that didn't really go anywhere. But Patreon, thanks. But yeah, that's the way it's going now, and it's like it's good and bad because realistically, people who do create worthwhile things, whether they're journalists or people who create a show that you like, if you're enjoying it, like maybe it's a good idea to contribute in some way, even if it's small, to the fact that that's getting created. And hopefully one day there will be less ads, although I don't think that'll ever be the case.
No, quite the opposite. I'm sorry. It's,
I have this great idea for a product. It's called Ad Unblocker.
Yeah.
We take the ads on the page, we double them.
Yeah. It's a great idea.
Double them.
It replaces all the text on a page with more ads.
That's all you really want anyway.
Anyway.
Thank you for joining us. Sorry for keeping you
so much.
so long today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we could take this journey down memory lane with Elon Musk. I can't believe all of this happened this year.
I know. There's so much that happened this year where I look and I'm just like, that I saw a tweet the other day that like just encapsulated everything so perfectly. And it was like, this year is so long that the Olympics were this year and no one remembers it.
There was a Star Wars movie this year.
Yeah.
Like oh my God.
The Olympics happened. Yeah. And it's just, nah.
Yeah, the Olympics, I was just like, where were the Olympics this year? Who could tell you?
We had, at some point, not only was there the about 3-month worry that
nuclear war
was going to happen, but it actually almost did in Hawaii where everyone thought it was going to because of that text message. that everyone got. So yeah, there was a lot going on.
Yeah,
It's
Man,
wild.
I remember feeling hopeful back in like January 2018 when I was at CES. Like, wow, look at all this future tech.
Yeah.
Someone made a robot that can play Scrabble, and now here we are.
Yeah. It all went wrong somewhere. Oh, now we just got to deal with it. Hopefully, hey, here's to 2019.
Yeah.
This is going to be Musk's
How
year.
could it get any worse,
He's
right?
back,
right?
baby.
I'm
Now
putting,
he's-
I'm putting money on it. Musk, I'll bet a signed $1. He's going to have a great year in
Yeah.
2019.
Now he's going to be vaping Juul pods
Yeah. We found a new way to jewel.
underground.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us. Hit up that Patreon so that we don't have to beg.
Yeah.
And we'll see you very soon.
See you in the new year.
Well, we have other stuff coming up, too.
Probably.
Yeah.
But we'll see you in the new year as well.
If it exists.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.